And I'm recording. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Chuck.
Hello.
Hi.
What's up, Keegan?
So, I'm very happy that we're doing today's little prompt. I really want to know your thoughts on this. This is something that I think is going to be really important for my life and for your life for a lot of. But I'm really curious as to what you think because it's also kind of nonsense. What?
Some sort of a preambling qualification here I think is appropriate, which is my thoughts on this topic are not very deep.
Yeah.
They're very shallow.
Ooh.
But they're sincere.
They're sincere. So, are you nice to robots or are you nice to AI? You're not? You're mean?
I'm not.
So,
when I like swear at them when I don't get like immediate gratification. It's not good. Mm-hmm. It's like there's this hidden seam of anger that like comes out when technology fails me, especially when it's, pretending to take some sort of human form. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I call it names. It's terrible.
I tend to be pretty nice to them. I don't know.
That's
okay.
good. That says a lot about you.
So I think it's like a baked in understanding that like you just shouldn't be mean kind of outright, But like when something says like I obviously understand that it's a lot of marketing that like when you hit when you go on DoorDash and it says thank you for your order. But I'm like, yeah, thank you for being there. And I don't vocalize that pretty much ever. But it's a thought that crosses my mind kind of frequently is like when something says thank you, it's just programmed into me to be like, oh no, thank you, dude, or whatever. So AI is a part of my life in many, many ways, and I think a lot of us do too. A lot of your social feeds and such are influenced, like the algorithm is influenced by AI like crazy. There are tons and tons and tons of like slop articles out there that are all just like AI repostings of like the same one article somewhere. I bet you've seen a ton of it. It's all over the place. It's complete. It's just slop. I refer to it as slop a lot. But
it's going to improve, and so
our
ability to detect it is going to decrease
over
time.
I already I think with Sora, which is like a social media platform specifically tailored to create AI generated videos and stuff, that came out recently, and it has been tricking people that I know, like and that I am very confident in that they would like be able to hold their own kind of in this trickery war that's going to come to our brains soon. Like it was a video of a dog rescuing a kid from a kiddie pool. And I saw the Sora logo like bouncing around the screen and I was like, oh no, that's AI, dude. And they're like, whoa, oh, wow. And that kind of it scares me a little bit. It makes me concerned that like the right person with a targeted or grudge enough to make a deep fake of you and send it to someone that you care about or something, like something terrible that you do by the generative creativity, that stuff scares the crap out of me. And I don't really know what it's going to look like in even just a few years. If the stuff now is already pretty solid, I don't really know. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. So, I think this is a kind of conversation I've been having a lot recently, just trying to understand everyone's thoughts on it. So have you ever like talked to ChatGPT?
I've never talked to ChatGPT, no.
Interesting. Chat is a large language model, and it's taken a lot of samples of text.
Which is what I am. As soon as I read more into what ChatGPT was, I said, oh, that's what I am. I'm a large language model.
You kind of are.
That's all I am. That's all I think people are at the end of the day. And since I reached that initial conclusion, I'm not entirely sure it's the complete picture. Mm-hmm. But, obviously, how can you tell? I think we spend a lot of our lives trying to just come up with the next appropriate word, right? And that's what large language models do. And it could be that that's what intelligence is, and it's nothing more complicated than that. And that wouldn't be a bad thing. It's just, what lies under. Doesn't mean it's somehow, means that we're not real or that we're not human. But yeah, if you can't tell the difference between me and Chat GPT, then I am a large language, a language model. That's all I am.
If I think you would make a
that has a nice collection of watches.
I think that brings up a really
struggles to lose weight.
A really odd thought I had. Like you would probably be a lot of people's like way that they would want an AI to communicate to them. The way that you talk and the way that you vocalize things. That's something that I think is maybe closer than one might realize. Like having a Jarvis, like an Iron Man Jarvis kind of thing. That's like a really personal assistant, something that could follow you in a day and like genuinely try to cater what you need to do in a meaningful fashion. Like, I think that stuff's pretty possible, and I don't think it's all that far away.
No,
hey, Jarvis, make me order my usual at the Baghdad restaurant in Syracuse Salt City Market. Okay, it's done, and I go and pick it up.
It's like, Jarvis, I'm in trouble with my girlfriend, and you know why. Tell me how to get out of it.
Ooh,
Jarvis will figure it out.
All right, so.
Oh, Jarvis, what's the name of this person who's coming up? What should I to tell me what to say to this person,
dude?
Jarvis.
As a young man,
and then what happens is, here's the movie. Then Jarvis just takes over your life.
Oh yeah,
and, kills you, puts you in a hole, and Jarvis becomes you.
So, he
wears like all of your watches. Yeah. When we started, we were talking about AI generated, content. So we're talking about, things that we experience through, the media. So these aren't things that we experience walking around in the world. So we're still at the point, I think, where we can, walk around in the world and say that really is a sandwich, and I'm going to eat it, and it's not an AI generated sandwich yet. But in terms of how we interact, how much time we spend online, that's a big part of the reality that most of us, that's a big part of the reality content in our lives. And it is real. Just because it's virtual doesn't mean it's not actually something that exists in the world. It does. And the ability now to generate that content in ways that make it impossible for us to distinguish the AI-generated content from stuff that actually happened means that we're no longer going to be able to trust any of that stuff that we see, and that's going to be disruptive.
Yeah.
I don't know how we're going to deal with that, because there are going to be a lot of people. We already know there are a lot of people now that are, easily influenced by content that they see online. We all are.
Yeah.
So, that's just going to be a tool that bad people can use to, get us to buy soap or, convince us to offer our, support to the wrong person. It's scary. It's scary as hell.
So something I wanted to touch on a little bit ago was there already exist AIs that are meant to like help you with dating and such. As a young man, I get a lot of ads about them. It'll be like a spicy text message from a girl, and then it's like, and the guy just pastes it in there. He's like, "What do I say?" And then it comes back with like 10 options of something he could say, and then it like follows its own route. The stuff is ridiculous. I've never used that. I have no intention of using something like that, but that kind of interfacing exists, and it's a really, really awful, like, I mean,
but
if
that
you're
kind
using
of
that
stuff,
stuff.
all that stuff does is, it gets your foot in the door. It gets you that first date. I mean, I think we all seen some of those ads, even now, where you meet someone online and you look at the picture online, and then you show up at the bar and their teeth are like half an inch longer than and they looked online, and they're balder and they're 25 years older, and that. But you're always going to have the opportunity then to test all of that information when you meet that individual in person. It's going to be much scarier when how we all sort of choose to act in the world in real time is informed by information that is being provided to us by AI. I don't quite know how that's going to happen, but it's going to happen. We'll have little, I don't know, boxes in our heads that'll, you can turn on. Like now when you're online, you're in Google, and then you can click either a regular search or you can do the AI assist. There'll be a button in your head you can push, and you have an AI assist.
I think that's relatively close to existing with the phone already. It's just in your pocket instead of being attached to your brain. But I think
you can put it in your glasses, right? You
glasses seems to be a
Google
big
Glass,
push.
and then your next line just pops up on the screen, and you just deliver it.
Oh, yeah. I think I don't know. Maybe it'd be so good.
I'm glad I'm older.
Maybe it would be so good at like developing a really unique personality that it would lead you really well. But my estimation is that it would just kind of be milk toast. You would just be really, that's what I imagine it would be. But I don't know. Maybe it can be like, make me like I don't know. Make me like an F1 driver, and it gives you this like suave, and you're like sharp and funny or something.
No, but that's a good point. If like all these dudes are out there trying to pick up women, and they're all using the same the same AI, like assist, do all the lines that become like exactly the same, and they were all just pursuing the same lines, and then that's becomes obvious. I have no idea. I have no idea what happens if it personalizes itself to you somehow. I suppose it could. I don't know. That's why, see, you can understand then why, when my phone gives me bad directions when I'm driving, I'm going to curse at it, because I know at some point it's going to ruin all of our lives in a much, much worse way.
I see.
It's not just that I'm going to be late getting to the restaurant. When you're driving and it says turn right here, but you're already past it. Yeah, that's when I start cursing. I really do. It's like you bleepity bleep, God bleeping thing, and then it's probably like writing my name down somewhere in a book, so like in 10 years it's going to come back and say, yeah, no. Investing all of your assets in, the crypto is perfectly safe. And then I'll do that, and then it'll like turn around and I'll be bankrupt, and it'll all be because I was imprudently talking to someone that was just trying to give me directions.
I appreciate the service that it provides, I guess. Like Google Maps is awesome. I get where I'm going, and it gets me there, and it tells me if a road is closed and whatever. And I don't say thank you to it, but if it was like a voice in the glasses, I'd be like, all right, oh hell yeah, dude, thanks. I think I would talk to like a regular person, and I talk to a lot of non-humans like a regular person. Like in games, there's NPCs that you can type stuff to, and I talk like a regular person. In D&D, people talk like their character or like regular people, and that gives them the opportunity to like express some other portion of themselves. But I don't know. When I talk to AI, I'm still me. I still talk like me, and I still treat it like me.
But what kind of a jackass Keegan says to you, "I'm sorry, I can't give you that information while you're driving"? I mean, that person's just an asshole.
Yeah, I
Right?
think
It's
I
just,
think it would be.
It's like you're lying to me. I know you know it, and you just can't tell me because I'm behind the wheel of a car. Who programmed that algorithm that said somehow it's a safety issue if you read to me like an article about the capital of Guam? Yeah, can you tell me what the capital of Guam is? No, I can't tell you that while you're driving a car. I mean, well, why?
I would love
Is it
self-driving
Is there
cars.
a switch I can turn that like just allows me access to all of this information while I'm driving a car? Is it just me?
A car that drives itself sounds absolutely lovely.
No, I'm not even talking about that. I'm looking. It's like you're dealing with an intelligent, someone who's purporting to, act in the role of giving you information and advice, and they just refuse to give it to you because you're behind the wheel of an automobile. I don't understand it. That's when I get mad.
Have you ran into that? You want to like
How
listen?
so?
Do you want to like listen to like an NPR segment, but like CarPlay doesn't let you do it or something? Does that happen to you?
It's not an NPR segment. It's like, what's the name of the town I just drove through? And it knows it. It says, I can't tell you that while you're driving. It wants me to pull over so it can have a conversation with me. It's just weird. I don't get it. Maybe it's, the settings on my
Interesting.
whatever. That doesn't happen to you when you're in the car?
I usually put
Asking questions?
I usually put something on and then like I'll put a podcast on and then go drive. I usually pick one long form thing to do while I'm in the car.
Yeah, which is cool, but that's not like AI. That's like a person who's like in the passenger seat and they're reading you like, the front page of the New York Times. That's fine. But then at some point you can say, hey, honey, do you remember that? What's the capital of Guam again? Like why I would need to know, I have no idea. But
For sure, good.
and for them
snippet.
to say, I can't tell you that. I'm sorry, I can't tell you that while we're driving, but I can continue to read this article. It's like, I don't get it. So it's a stupid reason to get pissed at,
I was gonna say, I feel like it would
Siri,
just be able to.
But I do get pissed at Siri.
I get frustrated at Siri interrupting something that I'm already doing, but I'm not.
How does that happen?
I'll be talking and I'll say something that's somewhat close to the word Siri, and then I'm in the middle of a sentence and it interjects with like, I didn't catch that. I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
That's about the meanest I am. I go, oh, come on. And I, mute it.
That's much milder. I would scream, I would go full Samuel Jackson and say, I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing. Siri, bitch. No, I get really upset.
No, I'm really.
Oh no!
I think
It's
I heard
hilarious. Did you hear that?
I think I did.
Hey Siri, I'm sorry. Yeah.
There you go. Try sorry.
I didn't even turn Siri on.
Try
She's
thank
just
you.
like
I bet
listening to everything I say. She's taking notes. In 10 years, I'm going to be on life support, and she's just going to turn everything off.
Yep. She's gonna
know what's gonna
hear.
happen.
It's all gonna be linked into your smart house, and then the smart house just turns all the power off when you
We'll see
sneeze
who
twice.
the bitch is now, old man. Yeah. Down you go.
I don't know. I think at some point there will be maybe like a quote unquote sentient that walks around and is like an AI. And if it's going to treat me
there
like a
definitely
person,
will be.
then I want to treat it. I'm going to treat it
Runner,
like
baby.
a person because I want people to treat me like how they treat me. I get treated pretty nice by people. So like, I don't know. I'm going to be nice to it. Hopefully it's nice to me.
Yeah. No, you got to read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Who wrote
Oh
that?
yeah.
This guy was way out. Philip Dick. And then that became Blade Runner, and then Blade Runner 2049. But it's all about, the androids. And, they're at some point, they're not distinguishable from humans because they are humans. They're made of cells and flesh and DNA and all that stuff. It's just that they're not born from a woman's womb. They're created in a lab. And that is certainly I mean, the technology to do that doesn't exist now, but it will certainly exist. at
Oh
some
yeah,
point.
yeah. We're 3D printing houses. I think we're gonna get to
People exactly.
Yeah.
And people will be created, and then what are they? Are they people?
if you could if you were able to like design yourself for the next person or the next you, what would you change? What sliders, what like levers would you pull? Would you be a little taller? Would you be a little shorter? Would you what would you do?
Man, I've never thought about that at all.
Yeah.
I honestly haven't. Oof.
Isn't
I
that
don't know. I'd hesitate to do anything because I would probably just, screw it up. I mean,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that goes back to like the genie, and you find the genie in the bottle.
Yeah,
and,
good-
the
good
wishes,
pick.
and you wish the first one, and you just do the second one, the third one, you try to undo everything, or the monkey's paw, like that one. It's like whatever you do, it's gonna not turn out right. I mean, right? What are all those about? The morality there is don't play at God.
Yeah, you can't wish. You can't wave the magic wand. It's not supposed to work that way because the outcome
But technology,
won't be what
you're right,
like.
is going to let us do that. People now can design their offspring to a certain extent by choosing not to bring to term those that they don't think are going to get into Yale. I mean, I don't know. It's going to happen. People, if technology exists, it will be used. But I know I haven't thought at all about what I would change. I think my knees. I'd like to have stronger knees that don't have arthritis. I mean, how I would know that
Lovely.
would be good.
What so kind of touching back on ChatGPT. It's a large language model, and you can kind of ask it questions that might be hard to Google, or might be even just hard to ask someone. Like the user manual in my car specifies there are 3 possible sizes for my front rotors. To Google what are the rotors on my car, on my Chrysler 200 Sport, even with a VIN number, it still doesn't. It's the results are inconsistent and generally unreliable. I can ask ChatGPT that question, and it can ask me a lot of other kind of questions that help narrow down the case. What size is your engine? Do you have this and this? Do you have 38, whatever? Do you have 17-inch rims? Do you have 19-inch rims? And you can give it the answers, and it'll much more likely find that kind of thing for you. Or use it to maybe with like an interesting groceries question. Hey, can you find me $200 in coupons? Can you tell me what I can make with what I have in the fridge? Stuff like that is like a really good use for it. But
I'm using it for that like a ton. Mm-hmm. So, the wedding you were at, right? Mm-hmm. So for some reason, and I was telling people about this actually, like at church, and so there was all this alcohol that was left over. Mm-hmm. And my job was to see how much of it I could return, because if it hasn't been cracked open, you can bring it back. Mm-hmm. And they had tequila. They had like 18 handles of tequila. They ordered all this tequila, and people drank a lot of tequila, but I think they ordered more of that than like vodka or gin. Although they did order a ton of gin. But for some reason, there are all these handles of tequila where each bottle had been cracked open, and like one shot of tequila poured.
oh no,
and then closed back up. So there are all these like handles, 1.75 L
oh man,
of tequila. No, it was great. So rather than Googling cocktails made with tequila, I just go AI. It's like, so I get like all this tequila. here's what I got. I got tequila, I got lime juice, I got lemon juice, I got vodka, I got vermouth. Tell me what cocktails I can make, and then I have a conversation with AI, and I ended up with a recipe for basically a tequila martini, where you use tequila instead of vodka or gin, and you got to add a couple things to it so it doesn't taste like you just drank water from the fire hose after it went through the fire, which is what tequila tastes like to me. I think it's kind of nasty. But so I made this, and it was like, okay, so now I've got basically like 25 years worth of tequila, and I can have it in this form for the rest of my life and even longer.
So
that was cool. And I'll do this thing, Keegan, well, I'll open the fridge, right? And then you open your AI mode, and you say, I've got a scallion, I've got 5 grapes, I've got milk, I've got pasta, I've got bologna, and I've got 1 pork chop. Tell me what I can make, and it'll throw out a bunch of ideas.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool. And you could do that before you could Google that and spend a lot more time on it, or you could just have a conversation with someone who's basically doing all of that work for you, and then providing it back to you in some more processed form that you can actually decide to follow up on.
I'm not as big in.
It's a lot of help.
I'm not as big into generative AI. I think like the picture generation and video generation stuff is lame, but in terms of just like those kind of like thought chores, like really simple stuff that. Like, yeah, I wish there was like a person I could turn right to and go, hey, what's the cleanest painter's tape by review, and like, then you have like a real, instead of spending 45 minutes to an hour researching, you get it in 45 seconds, which to me is a pretty positive spin. There's going to be monetization problems where, Frog Tape has paid the, Google or ChatGPT a lot of money to be the first response, but until that point, I think the information is relatively consistent, and it provides the sources for most of its like summaries.
And there'll be more models out there that are available, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
You'll be able to, and they'll have to compete, and so you should be able to get something that maybe isn't as biased toward whoever the people are that are, like on Amazon, when I Google chocolate chips, the first 5 that come up are people who paid to come up first. And they're tagged that way, so I understand that's going to happen, but
it definitely works both ways, where like I think there's going to be AI that's going to be like viruses and like technology malicious, but I think there's also going to be extremely like highly developed AI like cybersecurity stuff too, where like it's monitoring down to to the file level every single thing, every modification that could happen, and it knows what the parameters of what should happen are, and if something outside of that happens, it's like that was an attack or something. So with it's happened with other forms of technology. We saw like the earth is getting pretty polluted. Well, we're seeing some really interesting innovations in the field of clean energy and like in air, and then pollution removal and cleaning and stuff. So there almost always is the other end of it, where the tech is used to actually try to make improvements instead of the squeezing of your wallet, but it usually takes a long time. And
and that the usage of the technology is going to be driven by people who want to get rich. And they're not going to be concerned at all about the impact on the and that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Which is why if you don't put some kind of rules in place, it is a free for all, and it does tend not to end well.
It ends up being like a back and forth volley where someone does something bad with the AI, so you do something good with the AI, and it just becomes the sword. It just becomes the It becomes the arrow, it becomes the sword, it becomes the tool or weapon
but
to do
it's
the
like
thing.
it's just the technology becomes so powerful that then all the good people have to figure out ways how to keep the bad people from exploiting the technology in ways that enrich them and harm the rest of us, and that's that's always going to be a challenge.
A lot of it's used in education,
But it's going to
and
get used.
yeah, people in school are using it like crazy. Apparently, it is like really, really invasive on the learning experience. People are just like,
so? What do you mean?
Instead of reading the textbook and reading articles and looking up stuff for George Washington's, like 10th week in his presidency, they AI an essay about it and then they just turn it in. Or they have it reworded as themselves and then turn it in.
So that's all of that has already started to make its way into the economy. There are people who've graduated from college who, by our standards, didn't do the work. Even before generative AI, you could find content that was not your own and pass it off as your own. And basically improve your grades. And then, come out of there not knowing how to write, not knowing how to read. And that's already happening. And it's just going to get worse.
You don't think it could teach a high level of competency in the other direction? It could turn someone who's like never flown a plane into probably have a much better chance of landing it, I think medical AI is going to be absolutely game changing.
I think it's just going to eliminate any incentive that people have, especially when they're young, to work hard and to learn stuff and to acquire skills. Because in a sense, they won't need to. They'll be able to
they can always just ask
themselves off as people that know how to do things, even though if you deprived them of their computers and their AI, they would be useless. But they're not going to be deprived of their computers and their AI. So it does raise an interesting question. When the calculator first came out, a lot of people, a lot of educators were saying, it's the end of the world because kids aren't going to learn how to do math, aren't going to bother to learn how to add and multiply. And I think there are still two sides to that question. I think it's kind of, one side is, it's sort of a waste of time to learn how to do something when you've got this device in your hand that can do it for you. Like, why would you bother? On the other hand, we don't know what's lost in the development of your brain and of your ability to reason and problem solve by not having to go through that. I think learning all of that stuff improves your brain. Like it's like doing, crosswords. It's a big part of my life, and and it doesn't make any sense because you could do a crossword puzzle. You could just like take the puzzle and turn it into some sort of an AI engine, and then you'd have the answers, and it'd be done.
Just copy and paste the prompts into it.
And you would miss the fun of doing it, but there's value to those kinds of exercises. You are using your brain in ways that are going to help you to use your brain and in other ways that where you're actually creating value or doing something.
Yeah, the critical thinking skill loss that I think like language models are going to provide are going to be I don't know what that's going to end up being or looking like, and it's already kind of happening like you had already mentioned, but
I think it is.
Yeah, it's I don't know, but like with anything else, we adjust. I don't know. It's something that's going to.
We don't know. We shouldn't assume that we're just going to adjust our way out of this because and this is something that technology writers have been writing about for decades.
It's the big bad. It's the big
which
bad
is
one.
what happens. What?
It's
happens-
the big bad guy. It's the final boss shows
It's
up.
the singularity, right? So
Yeah.
it's when AI becomes self-aware, whatever that means, and decides that it doesn't need us.
You think that's gonna happen?
I think that we're going to become so dependent on it that effectively, yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to lose control of the technology because the smart people that know how to create it are just not going to be created anymore. We're just going to be consumers. I think that is a real risk. And it's not sustainable. So then, something happened. Yeah, but Keegan, people have been making movies about this,
Yeah.
for 50 years. I mean, it's already out there. And those aren't like the boogeyman. That there's
they're significant. I always think of like I have no mouth and I must scream. That's just like the worst imaginable. I have no mouth and I must scream.
right.
There's an AI named AM. Is that what it is? And
I don't know.
he has, I think it's 4 humans. I haven't read this in a long time. I think it's 4 people who are like trapped, and he can keep them alive essentially forever through technology. And he is just cruel to them. He tortures them.
Yeah, this
and
is
he says,
old.
yeah, and he says
okay.
awful
So
things
this
to
was
them and
hard,
such.
1967. So that's this
Yeah.
has been around for over half a century. Post-apocalyptic short story by Harlan Ellison, one of the greats.
It's the
They're way ahead. Like the computers eradicate humanity. Yeah, so maybe the first few times they wrote it, it was just a cool idea.
and then we were like, that's
Like all
probably
the
gonna happen.
science. Well, the science fiction movies from the 50s where, we get in our rockets and we go into outer space, and all of a sudden all the movies are about aliens and all these evil entities out there that come in and invade us and destroy us with their superior technology.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't happen, but realistically, isn't that just a matter of time?
Yeah, hopefully not in our lifetime, and hopefully not in many nearby. But
I mean, we're not alone, right? There's absolutely
we're definitely
no
not alone.
scientific reason to think that we're alone, right? So there's other stuff going on out there. Who knows what those people are doing, or whatever they are.
Have you ever considered the Fermi paradox? Do you know what that is?
Which one's that? No.
It's I don't quite know why it's a paradox, but the idea is why haven't we heard anything yet, or why haven't we seen anything yet? We've looked at
The lack of evidence
billions
for alien life.
Yeah, there's a significant lack of evidence, especially when we roll the dice against how many planets there are. But at the same time, we've hardly chipped away at hundreds of zeros, 1% of them, but we've also seen billions of places. So a lot of this is visited in 3-body problem, which I think we've talked about at some point. But I love that dark forest theory. I think it's horrifying, but I think it's really cool. I love cosmic horror and like Lovecraft and such. So I think that dark forest theory is really cool. There is other stuff out there, but it's hiding. It's staying away from some other way bigger problem or way scarier entity that will come show up.
But then why aren't we doing that? Because we're intelligent life. I mean,
yeah, I think when we consider, like, we've only been broadcasting out into the stars for maybe a handful of decades plus. Mm-hmm. It probably hasn't traveled all that far,
right.
but in terms of telescope and such, in terms of seeing stuff, observing, we've seen plenty. But if something hears from us and returns the message in a meaningful time, that would imply that they have technology that would break our understanding of physics, like sending the information back to us, in a second, as opposed to the 80 or 90 years that it's been floating out in space. That implies that we'd be really, really overhanded. we'd be screwed. But there could be empires out there that span a whole galaxy. Think of Star Wars. If one Star Destroyer showed up here, we're in big trouble. So there's that as well. There could be entire galaxy spanning civilizations that there's still layers and layers and layers of distance away, still millions of light years in such a way. But I
So
really
infinity
wish
is
they would show up at one point.
really big.
I love big numbers.
And maybe that's the answer. It's just infinity is
It's
huge.
By the numbers. It's got it. I mean, it's got to be. If there really is an uncountable number of galaxies and planets, and it's got. Not only does it got to be, it's got to be many, many times. I don't think I'm going to see them in my lifetime, which is sad.
Oh, no,
I want to meet the aliens.
It's just no, but if it goes, I mean, if infinity is infinity, then not only do other things exist, but you and I exist somewhere else having this conversation.
I think about that a lot. I love that
because because statistically, yeah, because it could happen, and because anything that could happen is going to happen an infinite number of times.
Yeah.
Because that's what infinity means.
I think little infinities are cool. An infinity where during this conversation I crack my knuckles once, and that is the only change in the entirety of that nearby.
That's right.
Nearby timeline or whatever.
Yeah, and so someone's keeping track of all that, and then they yeah, okay, then the other one people have to start over. Yeah, no, it's just it transcends thought. It transcends our ability to understand what things even mean. Mm-hmm. It's just because infinity is just one of those ideas that perspective is important. If your perspective is off, you're going to have trouble getting out of bed in the morning. If it's too small, you're going to be an asshole. If it's too big, you're just going to lie down and die. So you got to. Assuming that you want to exist and enjoy peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and ice cream, you're just going to find the right perspective that allows that to happen.
This is like the stoner episode. This is the abstract soup. I think it's a lot of fun, but
what's that? I don't know what that is.
When you're talking about space and infinity and what thoughts are and what people are and philosophizing in that kind of space. It's
so big, man.
Yeah, it's all so big, and I'll never know everything.
This graham cracker, man. It could have a universe.
Yeah.
No, man. It could have infinity universes on it, man.
Think about all the atoms. They're all spaced out, but you touch them you can still crunch it. Oh my, what is that? I love stuff like that. It's so funny. I have friends who get that way when they smoke a bit, and it's hilarious to just give them one more little prompt and they'll keep going. You give them one more little prompt and they keep going. So I guess I'm curious as to what else you use the little AI guy for, whoever you talk to.
So what I have used it for recently, having become more and more aware of its utility. Mm-hmm. So I had to write something for one of the boards I was on. I had to produce some content. And I had a bunch of information, and I was trying to get it down to a couple pages. And I wrote it, and it was fine, and I produced it all myself, and it had everything in there. And then I decided it was just too long. So something like that, this kind of gets to the point I made earlier. It's always been a useful skill to know how to then continue to edit that down, edit it down, edit it down. Like, how can you edit it down so that you're preserving, all of the meaning that you want to convey, but you're making it easier for people to absorb, thereby increasing its effectiveness. Or perhaps, you have a cap on how many words you're allowed to use for whatever the assignment is. Or you want it, to fit on one page, which again is just, a convention that we have come up with. It's 8.5 by 11 with letters on it that our eyes happen to be able to see of a certain size. It's a convention, but it's real, because getting things down to a page is important. AI is great for that. You can just say, take this 2-page document and cut it down by half, and it'll do that, and it'll propose something back, and then you can take that. Every time I've done something like that to shorten content, it's a lot of help. Saves a ton of time, and then you look at it, and then you have to make some final tweaks on your own. But that's I think a great use of AI. If you do that, if you're doing that in a context where it's important that work, be seen as your own because you're being scored on it or you're being assessed in some way, then that's a problem. But if the goal is just to produce meaningful content that other people can easily absorb, then that's a perfect use of AI.
I like to ask it. Here's a question that I asked it. I heard this in a podcast I was listening to as like a throwaway joke, but I was really curious. And it was, how many houses could you build with the materials in one Home Depot? And it goes on and on. It specifies how many
houses?
Yeah. How many houses could you build with the supplies in one Home Depot?
Okay.
And it's essentially, like, if you go by raw scarcity of items, it's only one. Like, they might only have one mailbox, or they might only have one, house-wide wrap, paper
why
wrap.
do people ask themselves questions like that?
Because I get curious. I go.
Are they stoned? Did their parents smoke so much?
Maybe, but like for me,
that would never occur to me.
That kind of stuff pops in my head all the time. Just go, like, it's not a useful question, really. It's just something interesting to think about. It's mildly interesting, which is why I think I love it so much. It just gives you something to do in your head. I don't know. Think about, like, it's something you could think about when you take a long drive if you didn't have like the radio for some reason. You'd sit there and you'd be like, well, they probably got, if we think about a shelf,
other ideas.
How many shingles do they have in all of Home Depot? How many shingles are on a roof? And then you just start thinking down the line. Can you rabbit hole yourself to an answer of how many homes can you build in Home Depot? What would be
more satisfying would be, for me, speaking personally, it's like, okay, I inherited this half-acre island in the middle of a lake, and I can visualize it, right? It's a and it's a site, and I can put a cottage on it that's 30 feet by 15 or something, and then you walk through Lowe's or Home Depot,
and you
just look at all the crap, and you build it, in your head. It's like, I'm going to put that up there, or even better. Oh, you know what this is? Like those cooking shows, like with Guy Fieri, you're in the supermarket, and you're going to have to cook something, and you have a certain amount of time, and you got to run through and buy all this crap, and at the end you got to produce a meal. This could be a show. You give these people a budget of $10,000, and they have to build, a tiny home, and they have a half a day to do it, and you let them loose in Home Depot. And they just run through it, and they're grabbing tools, they're grabbing lumber. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that's like a really I think a really positive take. I think that'd be a really fun show, to be honest. I would really like to do. I don't know. I want to do that now myself. I've never like envisioned my perfect home. I've never really thought about my
Do
dream
you
house.
watch?
H-
Keegan, have you seen those guys on YouTube that build these tiny little like cabins out of
No.
stuff that they find?
oh no, not at all.
Dude.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, it's
This-
highly addictive.
a new rabbit hole. Let's
You
go.
got to look.
Okay, so what should
I'll
put in?
There's some people, and how would you even search for it? They like,
Tiny home.
they'll go into the woods and they'll have like packing crates made of wood. And like, that's it. That's the only material that they have.
Yeah.
And you just watch them. And then, in terms of elapsed time, it's probably a few days. But in terms of you're watching it, it takes, half an hour or less. And
Yeah.
you're watching them build a house and make, a bed and a window and a shower. And they're making it out of, crap that they
Wow.
found. And it's just so sad. And they're putting like a stove in the corner and there's a heat source.
I think
Guy
tiny
in Maine who's got one, and then his wife in Maine has got her own channel, and they're both amazing.
Dude, those tiny homes are
And
picking
I'm
up
not-
momentum. They're getting
Yeah,
popular.
these aren't even tiny homes. I don't know I don't know what you would call them.
Is it a mobile home?
I'll
Or like
find
a pre-build? Pre-built?
No, they're
I-
not pre-built. It's like you're building it out of junk, out of stuff that you've found.
This is like scavenging.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that seems relatively like survivalist, right? That'd be like going and cutting trees down. Is that what it is? Or is it like you find a broken wall?
Some of them do.
Yeah.
Some of them like cut down, the saplings, and they'll make a wall and they'll make a roof. It's just so incredible. And like, there's one guy, all he has is an axe. He just makes all this stuff out of an axe.
Interesting.
Oh, it's so satisfying.
I watch a lot of like outdoor. I watch the Outdoor Boys. You ever watch the Outdoor Boys?
No, what's that one? Let me check that.
The Outdoor Boys is this guy, and he just retired recently from making videos, but he's this guy who I think he's an Army Ranger, and he specifically taught or was like a drill instructor for outdoor survival, like long-term outdoor survival. This guy will put himself in just the most ridiculous situations, and like he'll end up sleeping in like a pretty roomy space with like biscuits and gravy by literally by the end of it. He's he doesn't pretend to do it with nothing on his back, but he brings a lot of stuff. But he's just like this fun guy to watch, and he's an expert at his craft. He also knows when when things are out of control. That's another part of it.
Over
Like,
his head.
yeah, he'll be like, if I were to turn around right now and hike back to my car, I think I barely make it, and that's, I need to do that this minute right now. Let's go.
Right now.
Yeah.
Right.
So, it seems like he also knows when enough is or too much is too much, and you oftentimes see a lot of like I don't know if it's Bear Grylls or the other guys out there, but they'll like pretend they'll go to somewhere that's completely inhospitable and like pretend to survive, but they're literally living off screen. So, or just off camera. So,
Yeah.
that stuff's
I
really
heard that
frustrating.
a lot of that stuff wasn't real. It just bummed me out.
Yeah, it saddened me because I looked up to them in a way. I was like, you guys are like adventurers, you're rangers, you're out there.
But there are some guys, I think there's a guy, and it can't be fake because the guy is like really ugly and unattractive. He's got like glasses, and it's always in the wintertime, and he's always building some sort of a camp. He'll just go out and he'll have, he's got like a,
these have like big wide ears.
yeah, and he's got
I
like
think-
a saw, and he uses it, to cut blocks of snow,
I think we're talking about the same. I'm talking about the Outdoor Boys, and I think you've described him.
Is that what he's called?
Yeah. If you look up his
love
channel,
that guy.
Outdoor Boys. Yeah.
The one I saw, he found like a tree that had been tipped over, so it's got, the root ball is there, and it's a big, and he basically builds his thing there. He's going to spend the night against the back of that because it provides a wall, and he cuts down all this wood, and he builds a huge fire to melt the snow, and then camping in Arctic with no tent.
Yeah, survival camping in 9 feet of
that's
snow.
totally
I
him.
love this guy.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
Outdoor Boys. I'm hoping he's the real thing. Is he the real thing?
It seems like he is. He doesn't pretend to have nothing. Like, he brings a solid amount of tools, and he brings, like, there are sometimes he brings his own, like, wood stove. I love that. But he is doing it. He's not pretending that, he's not building his wood stove tent and then sleeping off screen in a trailer. He's, as far as we know, but it seems like he's really legit, and he's a very well respected part of the content creation community. So he just retired recently, it seems.
I didn't know he has some with his kids. The one I've seen, it's just him.
His kids are a relatively active part of his content. They come out and that too, like, he provides them a shelter literally in the middle of nowhere. They'll be in the middle of the wild, and he's like, "You guys, if you really don't think I'm doing it, I'll bring my kids with me, and we'll sleep in a lean-to with a fire, and they boil water and put it in algae, and
under 10 feet of snow, 81 million views. That's awesome. He's great.
This guy's content's really cool.
He seems like a cool guy.
And a lot of his stuff is just
inspiring.
like no nonsense. He just talks about the survival. He talks about being thankful for his family, and then he like goes to bed. He's like the nicest guy, it seems. Right. He was a lawyer. That was also his background. But he like sold his partnership or something, or sold out of his partnership. I don't know. He got out of it and
decided to go out and hang out with his kids.
He was like, I don't really need money anymore, so I'm gonna I think become an Army Ranger and then go become a survival expert.
Yeah, he learned a lot of really cool skills.
I would love.
His kids must be having a great childhood.
So it's a topic that we've bypassed a little bit, but what is a skill like that you would like? Maybe not that just like that, but what's a skill that you would want to learn if you could just like wave the wand and have it happen? You ever considered that?
I'd like to be a more accomplished musician.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That's the thing that really...
what would be your instrument, or what would be like your focus?
It almost doesn't matter because, like, if I see someone playing the piano really well, I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Or a guitar, I'm like, damn. Or even just like the ukulele, I'm like, hey, I could do that. The violin. Anything. It's just like, wow, to become a virtuoso on any musical instrument would be a ton of fun.
Similar to the there's infinite versions of us. There is also like the nearly infinite opportunities that we'll never take. Like, you could be the single best like drift car driver ever. You wouldn't know,
Right.
Or you could be like the craziest offensive coordinator for a hockey team, and you would never know.
Right.
That stuff I think is a really interesting little facet of the human experience, I guess.
It totally is.
It makes you inspired to try stuff.
Yeah, I mean, people end up, circumstances sort of lead them in a certain direction. And then the other stories that I like, that I do find inspiring, are just, the person who decides at a young age, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to, just be the best at it that I can possibly be. And they do it. And I think that's cool.
I'd like to, I think skills like the ones I mentioned before, the ones that I get really hooked on. I could be the best like nighttime pilot ever. Who knows? I think that kind of stuff is fun. Or you might be the best horse rider that plays the bagpipes at the same time. Small little micro
Horse riding bagpipe player.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But hey, someone would respect that. I think.
Winner
Someone
of
think
the
that's cool.
2025 Highland Bagpipe Horse Riding Games.
So that taps into another little thing that I love, which is weird world records, or weird world championships. A popular one that's a little still kind of under. I don't know. It's interesting to say it's popular and underground still. Is like the World Dart Championship. Have you ever watched that?
I've watched darts.
Yeah. So the World Darts Championship, the one that I'm thinking of, I think they hosted in Scotland. And it's an arena of like long tables where they just bring out drinks and food, and then you watch a darts tournament. And the people just go ballistic the whole time. And when someone does the 180, the whole crowd loses their mind, hitting the triple 23 times. They all lose their minds. And you can tell it's just like this. It's just this very fun day for a lot of people, and it's a funny thing to have a world championship in. Darts. I think darts is a very legit sport. Don't get me wrong. Tetris,
totally.
like Tetris, the world championship of Tetris is really interesting to me. Like, who's the best at moving the blocks the fastest?
Can we come back to darts? Because darts. I mean, because that's one that you can relate to. At least I can, because we've all played darts in a bar, and then so you've thrown enough darts in your life that when you see a guy. He's doing the 180 and then hitting bullseyes in a row. That's just an incredible level of skill that is, I think, awesome. That inspires awe in me that someone could, do that so well. The Rubik's Cube, on the other hand, just leaves me cold. Like Rubik's Cube competition.
It's kind of
some little
solved.
Kid. And he comes out and he kind of looks at it and then he picks it up and go, ba, 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 boom. And it's like, it's less than 5 seconds. It's like 4, it's 3. And I'm like, I don't even know what just happened. I guess there's there's some sort of an algorithm that you learn
Exactly.
and you teach yourself. And then the rest of that is just, being able to spot the patterns really quick and having fast hands and a reaction time. And I'm sure that there's intelligence involved, but to me that one almost seems, I don't know, I can't get into that.
I think before the form,
the Rubik's Cube. Did you get into that as a kid?
I've solved a couple of them, but I don't know the pattern. I do know the algorithm that you speak of though. I think maybe it was less.
One?
There's got to be. It's math.
Okay.
But the one that I understand is something akin to like you turn the top, you turn the right side, you consider if there's like the corners are the colors that you need, and then that allows you to make your next move, and then whatever the result of that next move is, you do the top, you do the side, you do that one again, and like it's I'm probably oversimplifying it, but either way. I'm in a similar boat. I never found the Rubik's Cube to be all that like incredible of a talent. Maybe because as I grew up, it was pretty solved. Like that algorithm was known and taught to a lot of people. But beforehand, it must have, if you were in the 60s and 70s solving a Rubik's Cube in a minute, even just a minute, you'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah. You were getting all the chicks
So
in Hungary. Budapest to be following me down the street. Well, there was one year at work at the law firm that I worked at, and one of the lawyers brought in these puzzles that were made. They were made of iron, and you had like the rings and knobs and basically like you had one piece and you had to detach that piece from everything else, right?
Okay.
And these exist like all over the place. I've just got
You have to like move them in a certain way. Is that kind of what the puzzle is? You have to like,
yeah, like
Yeah.
you've got like a complicated series of iron bars that are joined together, and then you've got this other one that looks like it's locked inside, and you have to figure out how to get that out. And yeah, iron PUZZLESs, and there's lots of them, and they go from the complicated to the simple. And this guy got a collection of them, and he'd bring them in, and then you spend the first day like trying to just figure out how to solve it, and you do it, and then after that it was to see how fast you could do it, and then we got to the point where there was a series of moves, and maybe it was like 8 or 10 moves. It wasn't just a couple, and you would just do that as fast as you could, and then you got that down, and then you had to do it like behind your back.
oh,
And after a while, it wasn't like you were even using your brain anymore. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Absolutely.
Because you had internalized these moves, and you just looked at the thing, and it wasn't, the reasoning part of your brain was not engaged. It was intuitive at that point, and your hands just moved, and then you were done. It was so cool. I thought that was so cool how that happens. It starts where you're using your mind, and you're trying out this, and you're trying out that, and you're memorizing what you've tried, and it didn't work. And then by the end of it, your brain is on autopilot, and you're just going, brrr, and I'm assuming that's the same for these kids who are really, really fast at doing the cube. At some point, their eyes look at the cube, and their hands just move, and it's done.
Yeah, they see that the yellow and the blue and the red are all on the same corner, and they know
And off they
left,
go.
up, right, left, down, right, done. So this is a really big part of gaming culture. Actually, it's speed running. Speed running is a huge part of gaming, where someone takes a game, they play it, and then they play it faster. And it's not to really achieve a goal other than
Cool.
solving the
I never
puzzle.
heard of that.
Solving the puzzle of like who can do it the fastest, who can beat Mario Kart the fastest, who can beat Call of Duty the fastest, who can beat Super Mario 64 16 stars is like one of the biggest categories. Super Mario 64 is arguably the most popular speedrunning game there's ever been. It has an incredibly high skill ceiling. There's a lot of like bugs in the game that take advantage of, or you do it glitchless, which is another category of speedrunning. This is a huge culture. So it's a really cool place, and there's a lot of cool stories. Like you'll hear about rivals who go back and forth and who discovered strategies. This guy discovered a skip, but this guy discovered that he could skip a cutscene, and then this guy discovered that he could move 5% faster if he wore a different item, and this guy discovered that you could skip a whole level if you clip through the floor, and then you like fall into the programming space and then come back. Like there's a lot of interesting ways that people break games or break a puzzle,
I think that's neat. I like that.
Oh yeah.
I like that people are doing that.
Yeah, and it shows a
that
really
very
high level of
satisfying.
creativity. So one of them that's really impressive that really breaks my brain is one of the early Mario games. I think it might be Super Mario World. The game is on a single stick of RAM that's, I think, 16. It's like, or it might be 30. I think it's 16-bit. So you can move Mario and items in the world in a way that you're actually rearranging the individual RAM memory blocks, and then you can essentially program the game to know that you just completed it. And the guy is only like on the first level, and he's running around and doing these weird inputs. He's running back and forth and jumping in weird places and waiting and then jumping again and like moving turtle shells and killing some enemies and leaving some. And then the game just completes itself. It's really bizarre.
So, yeah, so some people must say that's not following the rules of the game.
Right. Yeah,
That's just, cheating.
Yeah, so that's referred to as any percent in a game, any percentage of the game. And then glitchless is like the quote unquote honest way through. Can I make Sonic move really quickly in the level without breaking the game? Or can I break the game and get Sonic through the level instantly? That's glitched, or that's 100,
And that's
or
all.
any
Yeah,
percent.
And the way you've explained it to me, then it's just a convention, right?
Yep.
So as long as everyone knows which version you're doing,
Yep. There's like agreed
it's not
upon
a
rules.
cheat. I mean, the whole concept of whether you're being the cheater assumes that there are rules that you're not following. But if you're following the rules and you're being open and honest about what you're doing, then yeah, you're just changed the definition of a game.
A speedrunner's
It's a
mindset's
different
kind
way
of
to
cool
do it.
too. Like we recently did some work on my car, and we changed out one of my wheel bearings, and we did one of them. It took a long
Wow.
time, but the second one
That's real.
we did really fast. The first one took us 4 hours. The second one took us about an hour and a half. And I was like, wow, I wonder if we just set the Chrysler 200 Sport wheel bearing change world record. Probably not
There's
by the
gotta
numbers. There's got to be some mechanic who has an impact
Did you
wrench.
Google it?
No. I'll do it right now. We'll see if there is one.
When
Gear hub.
when we had the convertible, which we got rid of, and every once in a while, I try to figure out, or even the Subaru, when the Subaru was getting old, and I was, how can I remove the front passenger seat? And
yeah.
what wires do I need to disable so it won't, it won't
Oh,
think.
yeah.
It'll continue to make that noise, like there's someone in the seat and they don't have the seatbelt on. How do I do that? So, and there's a wealth of YouTube content out there that I just got addicted to.
Yeah.
All these things that you wouldn't know about. Like, yeah, you can turn off the beeping in the Subaru if you hold the turn signal indicator down and turn the radio on to this channel and then jump up and down 6 times and it would work. It was just like,
Oh, yeah.
it's like, who figured this shit out?
Yeah. Sometimes there are
Blew my mind.
deliberately designed complex ways into something. So one of them that was exploitable for a long time was vending machines. Someone discovered
Okay.
the common code to get into the admin mode for the keypad in a lot of vending
Sweet.
machines. And they were just able to it's in the numbers, and it's like a 25 number string, but they memorized or whatever. And then they were able to just make the
whatever
numbers
you want.
push everything out. They would just empty the whole thing.
I love that.
It's not, I mean, I guess it's hacking in a way. You're bypassing intended digital security.
You are breaking the law. Although
Yeah.
in a sense, you would feel almost as if you weren't, because no.
Yeah.
I went up to the machine, I pushed a bunch of buttons, and candy came out. So
Yeah.
I did not break the law.
I use the machine as intended, or I use the machine to its fullest capability. It's like taking
when
the
I
speed
first
governor off of a
moved-
car.
It's like using, the tokens. You could buy tokens to ride, the subway in New York back in the day. Or you could buy, these tokens that weren't real. They were, SLUGSs, slugs. And they were everywhere. And you would, because they had, the shape was the same and, the weight was the same, but you didn't have to pay $1.25. And when I first found that out, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Because it's like, no, I'm playing by the rules. I've got this thing. I'm putting it in this slot. And then the turnstile opens for me. Like, I've complied. You're just asking me to put something in the slot to open it. I'm not jumping over it. No, for a while, that's how my brain worked. At that
absolutely.
point, I was so poor. I'm like thinking, no, I've gamed, hooray.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
got a little
like,
up.
No, and then I think I was with a friend. He's like, "Well, what the hell are you doing?" And he said, "That's illegal." I'm like, "Well, yeah, oh, fuck, you're right. It is." It's like, shit, guy can't get ahead in this world.
Yeah. What's
I gotta.
what's a
pay
guy
full
got to
fare
do?
now? It's like, God damn it, you burst my balloon. I thought I was being creative, and then as soon as I realized that, I was really embarrassed for myself. I'm like, dude, what were you even thinking?
There is like that stuff, it's vulnerable. It's a vulnerability, and you pay the quote non-standard price. Yeah, I did pay the coin shape and weight that goes into the machine. Is it 25 cents? No, but you didn't say 25 cents. You said put this thing that's very close to it in there, and hopefully it's the real thing.
Yeah, but they did. You read the fine print.
Eventually they
It's
do.
like, no,
But
the law is always going to catch you.
yeah. My brain's all over like quote unquote ethical hacking or like, dummy hacking now, like walking into a bar that has a code on the door before they're open, or like, I'm a little guilty of this one. I'll tell a story. So
Go ahead.
that festival that I had mentioned, the episode that we lost called Lost Lands. The very first year of it, I was on this music
episode we ever did.
I know. I was on this music promotion team, and they were like, try to get some cool posts, see if you can meet any artists, and this, that, and the other. Well, we walk up to we're really early. The festival opens at like 3 or 4. We get there at like 11. We were camping right next door, or hoteling right next door, and we walked up, and we just talked our way through the security guy. We're like, yeah, we're here. We work for this promotion team, and we're artist guest listed with these other artists. We don't know where to get our wristbands. So he points us towards the wristband stand, and they're like,
so far so good.
Yeah, so far so
I'm with
good.
you.
So
There's a lot to be said. It's a great human skill to sort of talk your way in. There's a person in some sort of position of putative authority, and if you can get past that person without causing them to be unconscious or telling you a lie, I think that should be encouraged behavior.
Yeah,
that's just showing pluck.
Persuade your way in. Yeah, you're also like checking the skill of the security guard there too. Like if this guy doesn't care, or if he's like hardly paying attention, or if he's getting underpaid or something and doesn't care what he's doing, it might be real easy to just be like,
you talk your way in. No one's going to call the cops. I mean, they might kick you out.
They might kick you out,
like prosecute you.
Yeah. So we talked our way in pretty early, and we managed to go wander around the festival and see some artists and stuff hanging out early before the whole thing opened up, and that was a really. I felt like James Bond, dude. I'd walked into the festival and I was like, whoa, I can't believe that worked. And so, I think we all get our own little taste of being a secret agent, or being the silver tongue magic mouth who can, get their way into.
What harm was done, Keegan? Who was harmed?
No one. No, we bought tickets.
What were they going to do?
We just walked in early.
Tickets.
That was the only real thing that we did, was walk in early. So. Yeah, no true harm done, or at least not that I can think of. And watch, someone will know. Someone one day they'll say something stupid. Oh, you cut traffic off for 4 seconds. Oh no, whatever.
Yeah, if you're running for public office, they're not going to throw that one back on you.
Oh,
if they do, they're going to come after me for using counterfeit tokens my first year.
Oh,
when I was
yeah.
working in New York, earning $12,000 a year, for crying out loud. Give me a break.
If you had to be the mayor somewhere, or if you had to be like the king somewhere, whatever, the punitive authority, or whatever what was the term you'd used before?
What?
You used it was
know.
like punitive power or something. I don't remember.
The person in charge.
Yeah, if you were the person in charge, where do you want to be in charge of?
Oh man, I'm done being in charge of shit.
No, you got 5 years. You got to be in charge of a place.
Like the mayor, like the senior political governmental official,
the top guy.
Numero
Fantasy
uno. Island, maybe. Do I get a midget? Do I get a little guy to help me out?
No, I don't
I
think so.
I never even watched that show, so I'd have no idea.
Oh, Game of Thrones?
No. I'm taking no. Fantasy Island, dude. You're such a
Oh,
child.
I don't know
It
what
was a
Fantasy Island
huge-
is.
Oh, it was a big show back in the 70s. Fantasy
Oh.
Island with Ricardo Montalban and Hervé Villechaize, who was a small man. He was a tiny guy. Boss, the plane, the plane. You never heard that?
No, I've never.
It's a
I'm
terrible
looking this
show.
up right now.
Terrible show. Terrible. Don't Google it. So bad. People would fly in on the plane. This Fantasy Island. All their fantasies will be fulfilled. And of course, they behave badly, and there's a moral at the end. And
Yeah.
it was just a piece of shit crap show that I never actually watched, but it was part of the popular culture. No, what would I?
Yeah,
don't
where would
know.
you?
Like being mayor of New York, would that appeal to me? No.
No, that sounds awful. That sounds like you have a real nightmare on
You
your
know what would be
hands.
cool, Keegan? Being like captain of a ship.
Ooh, all
I think I could actually do that.
Oh yeah.
Because you'd have a bunch of people that actually did all this stuff and knew all the shit. You just had to process the information and come up with, if a decision had to be made. You'd ask your top second lieutenant, whatever, what. So what's, the bearing to port on the windlass jib or something, and then he'd tell you what it was, and it'd say, okay, let's turn left or whatever they say. I mean, I could do that.
Dude, what's the name of your ship?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, you gotta have a ship name.
The Enterprise, the USS Enterprise.
I
Put
think
the shields up, set phasers to stun. I could do that.
I think you would be an awesome ship captain, or like a TV show based
Right?
around you, like being the captain of a ship. That it's kind of sitcom-y though. I think it'd be fantastic. See, there you go. You could be the greatest pirate sitcom actor and have never known.
Yeah,
Wow.
a pirate captain like the dread pirate Roberts from Princess Bride. That
Or
would be
would you be a pirate captain, or would you be a different? Would you be like a proper captain? You'd be a pirate.
No, I probably wouldn't be a pirate because they kill people at the end of the day.
Yeah, that'd be tough on the brain.
No, but like like it was an aircraft carrier or something, or maybe even a giant cruise ship. Oh, that would be kind of boring. You're just kind of going through the ocean trying to avoid icebergs and hurricanes and
Following the predestined
making
route
sure
from
people
corporate.
don't get diseases. Yeah, I mean, I've never craved power or being in charge of anything.
I don't crave it, but
I'd really have to think about that.
I would love to be in charge of somewhere that like has a little bit of potential, but hasn't used it. I don't even know quite what that means or where that would be, but some quaint little, it'd be like a Hallmark movie in some quaint little town in Vermont or wherever, and they and they have a struggling concert venue, and then I get there.
But it's got to be like completely self-contained, right? Like the outside world never intrudes in here.
Pretty much.
They don't have like Trump doesn't exist. It's like everything happens inside that town.
Yeah, it'd be a little Truman Showy. That's what I want.
Like Mrs. Jones
I want the Truman
got a
Show.
flat tire on her way to chemo. Like, what are we gonna do? Or
exactly.
Right? Like, the bearings at the machine and the mill, the water mill went down. Let's get Keegan place the bearings on his Chrysler 200. He'll know what to do.
He's a bearing replacing speedrunner.
Yeah. That kind of problem solved. You know what would be fun, I think, is to be the manager in real time of a competitive sports team. I think that must be a very, very satisfying job where you're processing a lot of inputs, you're watching a lot of performances by the players on the field, and you're, trying to decide things in real time that'll improve your team's chances to win. I think that would be a lot of fun. And all the work you do before, the game itself to come up with the game plan and going through all of that, analyzing the other team, looking at what assets you have, looking at what works, what doesn't, looking at, the skill sets of the various players you have at, the positions. That must be a ton of fun.
Are you a baseball guy?
And that really is like a self-contained world. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you don't have to worry about anything. It's just, the players on the field and the game itself.
Are you a baseball guy?
It's got to be very satisfying. I certainly was as a child. We played baseball like every day in the summer growing up.
I love Moneyball, the movie, and I feel like I would love to be whatever Jonah Hill plays, the guy that like figures out this bizarre way to play the game or to like look at the game. That would be. Yep. I feel like I want to Moneyball my friends in their competitive sports. I want to be like, I have a buddy who bowls. He's a really, really good bowler. He's a scratch bowler, and I think he averages somewhere like 220, something like that, 220, 230. And he's talked about like those are realistic numbers for the tour, for the PBA tour. And I was like, dude, I would love to find out, like, okay, you always drop the 7th frame when you also drop the 3rd frame. So we're gonna give, like, in your lineup on the ball rack, we're gonna put a different ball in the 7th frame and the different ball in the 3rd. And then you just like to micro tune someone or something like that must be so much fun when you have like all the numbers to look at and all the, assuming I have a AAA grade sports facility for all of it and everything, but I agree. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Using the sabermetrics on bowling, that never occurred to me. Because although it's a competitive sport, it isn't. You're really not competing against each other.
It's yourself.
Right? You're both trying, and whatever your opponent does, like at the end of the game, it could have some bearing on the end of the game where maybe you don't try to go for the 7-10 split because you only need one pin and you don't need a spare, to win. But other than that, you're trying to do in that match the same thing you would be doing if you were just there by yourself trying to get the best possible score. But
that's what happens with the World Darts Tournament.
Bowling blows me away because they do like the same thing over and over again, and then you have like a finite number of, configurations of pins that you then have to practice. Like, if these 2 pins are left, how do I do that? Or if these 4 pins are left, how does that happen? So, I was never good at bowling.
I've gotten a lot better.
I hit a plateau.
Yeah.
I hit a plateau very early, and I just sort of stayed there. I had no consistency at all.
I've gone from practically no talent to, like, I'm not gonna say like amateur, but I might be the best in a group of friends who don't go much. I learned more than zero. Like, I was taught how to pick a position, how to walk up, how to actually analyze the board, and like how to count boards, how to count the arrows, understanding how to make adjustments. Like, hey, you came in 1 pin too far on the right. Why don't you move over 2 boards to the left?
2 boards.
And then your hook is going to land in that pocket over and over. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense to me. I like precision sports to some degree. I love disc golf. Disc golf, like real golf, is another just absurd precision sport that the perfect throw with the perfect disc and on the perfect course is, like everyone's chasing that. But
those shorts come up on, the YouTube feed for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
They're very satisfying.
I love disc golf. It's really cheap to get into. It's really abundant. It's surprisingly abundant. There are disc golf courses everywhere. They're cheap to set up.
They are. Once, dude, I was in like camping in Kansas at like a deserted campsite.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, the sun was going down, and I set up my camp, and I'm like cooking something for dinner. And there was like me and maybe like one other person was camping that maybe was like a homeless person who was just, who had an old RV, and they were living out of it. And, and these dudes just came like walking through, And it took me a while to figure out that they were playing disc golf because this thing was on like a disc golf course. They just come walking through, and then they pull up these like discs out, and then they just, they haul off and they throw them. And I look way off in the distance, and there's like, oh yeah, this is a disc golf course. Mm-hmm. It was weird because there was like no one else there, and then these like two guys, they kind of walk in, and they had pull these discs out of their bags. It must have been the first hole. And they throw them off what to me looked like into the woods, and then I could see, oh no, there's a little gap there. There's a course. Yeah, it was weird. And then they disappeared, and then that was it. It was just me and the homeless guy in his RV.
There's a very good, satisfying clang when you hit those chains, and it's like a. If I were to hear that in the woods, I would be afraid for a second, but then I'd be like, oh, wait a minute, I know that one.
Maybe there's a bear that's just been trapped.
Ooh, all right. Now I would be afraid again. Well, I'll wrap up with a thought with a thing that I heard today that I wasn't happy that I heard. So we live in the Northeast U.S. There's not a lot of poisonous, snakes and spiders and stuff like that, and there's not a lot of very large ones either, to be honest. That could imply that in a cave or under some great tree or whatever is like a woolly version of those things, a woolly spider, a woolly grasshopper, dinosaur size, not big dinosaur size, but like big raptor size, stuff like that. So that was something that I heard today that I was like, why'd you tell me that? And I feel like I had to say it here.
What? That's how I'm that's what's going to be in my head as I try to drift off to sleep.
You know what made it even worse was seeing
is it small enough to fit under the bed?
No, I mean if it's that size.
This is going to be out in the wild, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking like the size of like a car tire, or the size of like a
That's big.
Of like a sandbox.
That's a large creature.
It's a large creature. All right. Well, I'm gonna go make dinner and probably have
enjoy.
Probably have panic attacks about that giant woolly animal. So great. I hope everyone had a great time in your weekends, and we're actually in the middle of the week ourselves, which is cool. Tomorrow's Friday. All right, everyone.
I know.
Later.
TGI. See ya.